Benvenute alla scuola biblica. Willkommen in der Bibelschule. Bienvenue à l'école biblique. À l'école biblique. Bienvenue. Bienvenue. Okay, so what's wrong, guys? Come on, what's wrong? What am I saying? What's the problem? What? You're confused about what? I don't get it. Because three different times I said, welcome to Bible school. But what happened? Well, the first time I said it in Italian. The second time was German, and the third time was French. Thank you, Google Translate, because I could not have done that all on my own. So, you were confused. And once I started speaking in a language you could understand, it made a lot more sense, right? Okay, so our lesson tonight is focusing on how we got different languages, okay? So we're going to hold on to that thought. But before we move on, we already know our focus is confusion. What color comes to your mind when things are confusing? Green? Blue? Black? Orange? Purple? A lot of colors, right? Okay, so let me give you an example. When things are very clear, you might hear grown-ups say, oh, well, this is a black and white situation. It is a very clear answer. It's either this or that. But sometimes when things aren't as clear, when things get a little muddled, we might say, oh, this is a gray area. So it might have aspects of this and it might have aspects of this, and then it takes a group to kind of get together and straighten it out. So not only are we talking about confusion, but our color is gray for tonight, okay? On Sunday, our color was green. Last night, we had the dark and blue to relate to the corruption and catastrophe, okay? Today, we've been on a cruise, right? We've kind of been traveling along, and you've seen a lot of different things. Well, tonight, our cruise is taking us to the Amazon basin, Amazon rainforest. Can you see that picture there? You see that thing that's just kind of standing straight up? You know what that thing's called? That's the Amazon Tall Tower. And that's its name, the Amazon Tall Tower. Who got paid to name that tower? You think they could come up with a better name than that, right? Okay, but that's just what it's called. And that thing just looks like a needle sticking out of the forest. But, of course, when you get up to it, it's much bigger. So this is the Amazon Tall Tower Observatory. It's over 1,000 feet tall. It's just a little taller than the Eiffel Tower in France. So I found this slide. You see on the far right, there's that Amazon Tall Tower Observatory. Immediately to the left is the Eiffel Tower in France. And you can see it's just a little bit taller than that. And then there's this building called the Shard. I'm not exactly sure where that is, but it's a unique looking building. But on the far left, what do you see? the Statue of Liberty right up the way here in New York. And if you've ever seen the Statue of Liberty in person, she looks pretty big, but in reality, she's not that tall compared to these other things. So in that observatory, what do you think they probably do in that tall tower observatory? I'd be hanging on for dear life. I know that's what I would be doing, because I don't like heights. Okay, they do climate research. Okay, they do rainforest research. The Amazon rainforest is a precious, precious resource. And so researchers and scientists are monitoring constantly to find ways to preserve and keep it. Okay, so I already talked a little bit about what our lesson was tonight, how we got different what? Languages. Our lesson also includes a tall, languages, and a tower. Okay. So what did we learn about on night 1? What was our first C? Hey guys, come on in. Yes, back here. Y'all just yell it out. Creation. How the world came to be. Okay? What was last night's lesson? What were those 2 C's? You had 2 C's in one. Corruption and catastrophe. Okay, so corruption happened. You know, Adam and Eve had it really, really good in the garden, didn't they? And God told them no to one tree. They did it anyway. And so sin entered the world. And then sin just kept growing and growing and growing. And God decided, yeah, you know, I'm really even sorry I made these people. So he caused a worldwide flood to happen. Our lesson picks up tonight kind of well after that flood. Okay? When Noah and his family exited the ark, back in Genesis chapter 9, God told them something. Okay, God was very specific. Okay? I'm going to read that to you. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, now who is speaking? God is. Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. What do you think that means? Be fruitful, be multiply. We know what that means. Have families. Grow your families. Okay? What does it mean to fill the earth? Fill the earth with people and animals. Okay? So, is the earth only in Rockingham County? No. So where do we find people now? Everywhere. All over the world, right? That's what he meant. Fill the earth. I don't want you to just stay right here. I want you to take this world that I've made, and I want you to grow it. I want you to fill it. So he told Noah and his sons, be fruitful and multiply. So that's where our lesson picks up today. Now, what we're reading about today happened about 100 years after Noah's family got off the ark. Okay? So about a century has passed. Let's see. About how long ago do you think that was? I had no idea until I was preparing for this lesson. The incident that we're reading about today happened about 4,000 years ago. That's a lot of zeros, okay? All right, so I'm actually going to read to you from Genesis chapter 11. Okay? Now, you're going to hear a lot of detail here, but keep in mind what God told Noah and his sons in chapter 9. He told them to do what? He told them to do 3 things. Be fruitful, multiply. Did he mean do math? No, he meant grow your families. Let's grow the population. Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. Okay, that's what he told him to do. All right, now, 100 years later, now the whole earth had one language and the same words. Is that true now? No, because when I first started talking, y'all didn't know what I was saying. Okay? And as people migrated from the east, they found a plain, not an airplane, a plain, an area of land in the land of Shinar, and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a," what do you think? Let us build a city and a tower. Let's build us a city and a tower with its top in the heavens. Okay? So they, not only did they build a tall tower, they were building it to the heavens. And let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be dispersed over the face of the whole earth. Now hold up a minute. What does it mean to disperse something? Spread it out. If I had a handful of seeds and I just tossed it, it wouldn't all fall in one lump. It would kind of go all over. Okay? Is that what God told him to do? Okay. So they're like, "Hey, let us build a city, let us build a tower, so we don't have to go anywhere." Uh-oh. Right now they're being what? Ooh, I heard it. Disobedient. They're being disobedient. All right. We don't know what that's like, do we? Y'all are funny. Okay. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of man had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do. And nothing that they purpose to do, or nothing that they intend to do, will now be impossible for them. Come, let us." So God's talking. He says, "Come, let us go down." Who's the us he's talking about? God the Father, God the, he said, "Let us come down." Okay, there we go. "Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord dispersed them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Okay, so they just stopped. Okay, they just stopped what they were doing. Why? Why did they stop? Did the Lord tell them to stop? They couldn't understand each other. Yeah, if you're trying, imagine all of a sudden the very person that you're sitting beside of, you're right in the middle of a conversation, and all of a sudden you have no idea what that person is saying, and that person can't understand you either. And then y'all are trying to build a tower, and the brick mason can't communicate with the concrete guy or something. I don't even know who all takes that. It's just an example. But the people that are working together can't communicate with one another. Okay? Things kind of fall apart, don't they? So if all of a sudden you can't understand somebody, what are you going to try to do? You're going to try to find somebody you can communicate with. Yeah, it might be, because kind of like in school, sometimes they say, "Okay, here's this group and that group and that group, and I want you to find everybody that has the same sticker on their shirt, and you make a group together." Okay, that's probably what had to happen. different groups had to get together that could communicate and continue. And then from there, they went over and dispersed all over the earth, which is just what God told them to do in Genesis chapter 9, right? He said, multiply, fill the earth. He didn't want them to just stay right there. Okay. So they left off building the city. Now here's where we get to our memory verse for tonight. I know you can't see it from right there. I can't really either, but it's right here. Therefore, its name was called Babel. Have you ever heard of a baby babbling? How many of you have babies in your house right now, or young children, and they start learning to talk and they just blah, 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 blah. That's kind of what it sounds like, okay? So, therefore, its name was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord dispersed them over the face of all the earth. So right here what happened is the Lord said, this is what I want. And the people were what? What's that word? They were disobedient. Now, it took them 100 years to get to that point. I'm sure they were disobedient before that, but, about 100 years after, and they still weren't following God's instruction. So, what did God do? He made them do it anyway. Who's going to have his way? You better believe it. If the Lord wills it, it is going to happen. And Scripture has proven that to us. Because in the beginning, everybody spoke the same language, no problem, easy peasy. And then everybody starts speaking something different. I have no idea how many different languages there are in the world. Okay? I'm sure we could look that up and research it. So, and kind of, wrapping up, the people wanted to glorify themselves, didn't they? They wanted to make a name for themselves. Because it said here, come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves. Instead of glorifying themselves, they should have been glorifying God, because he is the creator of everything, right? He is the master of everything. He is the owner of everything, okay? We exist at his will. So they wanted to stay where they were instead of scattering and filling the earth. As you walk around today, and I think once you go through the hallway there, don't you see some animals on the wall? You're going to see an animal by the name of Scatter. He's a gorilla. Okay? And guess what color he is? And? Is he grayish? Is he grayish looking? Yeah, I think their intent was for him to look grayish, because it goes along with our color theme for that. So keep your eye out for Scatter. Okay. Anybody have questions? You see Scatter? Maybe? Okay. Well, I'm finished up just a little bit early. Okay. All right. 7,117 languages. I can only speak one. You did? You saw Scatter in there? Okay. All right. So, reviewing the 3 C's: creation, catastrophe, corruption, and tonight, what? Confusion. All right. So I'm going to let Pastor Hunter, okay, will you please cut